All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into an invisible, microscopic war that's taking place right inside your favorite bottle of wine. We're going to unpack the fascinating and, let's be honest, sometimes completely tragic science of acetic spoilage. We'll explore exactly how a beautiful, expensive vintage can transform into something practically undrinkable, and we'll look at the precise science winemakers use to fight back.
So picture this. You've just poured a gorgeous glass of wine. You're expecting this rich, beautifully layered bouquet, right? But instead, you lean in and you're hit with the harsh, stinging smell of nail polish remover, or maybe salad dressing. It is a completely heartbreaking moment for any wine lover. You know the drill. You swirl the glass around, hoping it's just going to blow off. But no, that pungent aroma just lingers there, completely overpowering all those delicate fruit notes you were so looking forward to.
Now that tragic transformation, it isn't just a streak of bad luck. It's actually a highly efficient, perfectly executed crime committed by microscopic villains. And today, we are going to investigate exactly how they pull this heist off. Who hijacked the wine? How did they slip in? And, maybe most importantly, what exactly are they doing to that carefully fermented grape juice?
To really understand this, we need to head straight to the scene of the crime. Section 1, the microscopic wine threat, where it begins. You see, it all starts long before the wine even sees a bottle. Acetic bacteria are widely distributed out in nature, and they are genetically hardwired to thrive in sugary environments. Depending on the phytosanitary condition of the grape harvest, basically how healthy the vines are, these bacteria are actually already waiting on the fruit before it's even picked. They're the ultimate opportunist, just biding their time out among the vines.
Now, what's truly wild here is the sheer scale of the threat. We are talking about astronomical numbers. A healthy, intact harvest might only have a really small bacterial footprint, maybe somewhere between 100 and 1,000 colony-forming units per milliliter. But if the skin of the grape is broken, say by birds, insects, or just rot, it's a completely different story. Those damaged grapes can harbor up to a staggering 1 million colony-forming units per milliliter. They literally multiply like wildfire in the exposed, sugary juice of that damaged fruit.
So, who exactly are we up against? Section 2. Meet the acetic bacteria, the culprits.
Okay, so knowing your enemy is absolutely crucial here. Both of our main culprits come from the family Acetobacter, but they have distinctly different methods of operation. On one side, we've got the genus Acetobacter. This one goes straight for the alcohol. It preferentially oxidizes ethanol, and it even has the ability to further oxidize acetic and lactic acid straight into carbon dioxide. On the flip side, we have Gluconobacter. This one is a little different. It prefers to feast on the sugars, primarily glucose, and unlike its cousin, it actually can't oxidize lactic or acetic acid.
So, what do these little saboteurs actually look like? Well, they're gram-negative invaders, which just means they have a specific type of thin cell wall. And they are tiny, size just 0.6 to 4 micrometers. You'll find them in ellipsoidal or cylindrical shapes, alone, in pairs, or linked up in chains. They reproduce incredibly fast by binary fission, literally just splitting themselves in two. And they absolutely love optimal temperatures right around 25 to 30 degrees Celsius. But here is the absolute most important thing you need to remember about them. They have one massive weakness. They are strictly aerobic, meaning they absolutely 100% need oxygen to survive, multiply, and do their damage. Keep that in your back pocket because it's the key to everything that happens next.
Now that we know who they are and what they need to survive, let's look at exactly how they execute the heist. Section 3. Wine to vinegar, metabolic hijack. This right here is a precise step-by-step chemical takedown. First, they target the ethanol, the alcohol in the wine. Using an enzyme called bacterial alcohol dehydrogenase, they oxidize the ethanol and turn it into this intermediate compound called acetaldehyde. Then, using another enzyme, aldehyde dehydrogenase, they hydrate that acetaldehyde and transform it into pure acetic acid. Step by step, they are literally dismantling the alcohol and replacing it with vinegar.
But wait, remember their massive weakness from a minute ago? Oxygen. The terrifying efficiency of this whole conversion is that just 1 single gram of acetic acid is produced with 2 liters of air. So if a winemaker leaves a barrel slightly empty, or a bottle gets exposed to the air, that gives these bacteria the exact fuel they need. Given enough oxygen, these tiny invaders can wipe out up to 50 to 60% of a wine's ethanol. Just incredible.
Okay, as a really wild side note here, these bacteria aren't just interested in the alcohol.
They can also metabolize the wine's glycerin, transforming it into a compound called dihydroxyacetone. Now, why does that matter? Because dihydroxyacetone is actually a highly sought-after chemical used in the cosmetics industry. It's literally the active ingredient in most sunless tanning lotions. So, proving that nothing in nature ever truly goes to waste, one winemaker's totally ruined vintage is simultaneously creating a highly valuable commercial cosmetic ingredient. You really can't make this stuff up.
But this destruction doesn't just happen overnight. Section 4, the two phases of ruin, spoilage versus taint.
This whole process is essentially a ticking clock with a massive point of no return. The timeline hinges on a vital tipping point between two totally distinct phases. Phase 1 is spoilage. This is the early stage. The color hasn't changed much yet. Maybe there's just a slight cloudiness. You might just catch a faint, sharp smell of acetaldehyde or ethyl acetate during a tasting, but the volatile acidity is still low. If the winemaker catches it right here, they can actually still save the wine. But if it crosses over into phase 2, vinegar taint, it is a disaster. The liquid becomes visibly cloudy, the volatile acidity skyrockets past 1.2 grams per liter, and, well, it's game over. The wine is ruined for drinking and is only useful for being sold off as commercial vinegar or used for distillates.
And if you do hit that second phase, you might peer into a barrel and see this absolutely horrifying sight. This is an actual physical manifestation of the bacterial colony. It forms this smooth, grayish film with these long, thin folds right on the surface of the wine. As it gets older, it becomes thicker, rougher, and takes on this weird gelatinous consistency, sometimes even sinking down to the bottom. In the wine industry, this eerie, vein-like formation is ominously known as the mother of vinegar. Just to put some hard numbers to this crime scene, a perfectly normal, healthy wine already has a tiny bit of acetic acid naturally produced by yeast during the regular fermentation process, usually up to about 0.6 grams per liter. But it really doesn't take much to tip the scales. At just 0.8 grams per liter, especially when accompanied by ethyl acetate, the wine crosses the threshold and becomes completely unacceptable to drink. By the time it hits 1.2 grams per liter, it's officially classified as vinegar tainted. It's a remarkably fine line between an absolute masterpiece and a totally ruined batch.
But hey, the winemakers aren't entirely helpless here. Section 5, saving the vintage, fighting back. If winemakers catch the spoilage early enough, they actually have a pretty high-tech arsenal at their disposal. They can literally blast the wine with UV rays, which acts as a powerful germicidal treatment. They can also use high-degree ultrasound waves, which become bactericidal when the wine has a low pH. They might use pasteurisation, heating the wine to exactly 60 degrees Celsius for 45 seconds to stabilize it. Or, in what I think is a brilliant move of biological warfare, they can introduce specific floor yeasts. These unique yeasts actually consume the unwanted acetic acid, using it as a carbon source to survive. They literally eat the problem away.
But as any winemaker will tell you, prevention absolutely beats the cure. The ultimate goal is to never let the bacteria get a foothold in the first place. This means strict sanitation, acidity corrections to lower the pH, really careful use of sulfur dioxide, and crucially, keeping macerations totally saturated with noble gases to completely choke out any trace of oxygen. That's the prevention side. The cure side? Things like having to panic blend an infected batch with a healthy one, running the wine through dialysis, or forcing a re-fermentation. Those are desperate measures to save an asset. Starving the bacteria of oxygen from day one is definitely the ultimate defense. So, we've unmasked the microscopic invaders, we've decoded their metabolic heist, and we've explored the incredibly high-tech defenses used to stop them. The next time you pop a cork, swirl your glass, and breathe in that perfect, uncorrupted aroma, just take a second to remember the incredibly delicate scientific battle that was fought and won to ensure that liquid made it safely into your glass. So, what do you think? Knowing everything going on behind the scenes, will you ever look at a glass of wine the same way again? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Until next time, keep learning and keep exploring.